Hi, welcome back to Times Square Today. I'm your host, Greg Roulette, and I'm joined by an incredible guest who helps people all over the world to generate more income in their businesses, but also have more freedom in their lives, because there's so many people right now who need help. But they know what to do. They just need help with their mindset to get it done. His name is Peter Wolfing, and he is an expert. He's an author. He's a speaker. He's joining me here today. How's it going, my friend?
Hi, great. Thanks for having me here, Greg.
I'm really excited to talk to you today because as we were talking before the show, you said that, look, the tactics are out there. Like people, there's enough information about what to do, but people don't necessarily know how to get started or how to take that first step. And you really help them overcome some of those mental blocks. To do that, so just give me a little bit of a rundown of what you do and how do you help these people?
Sure. I've been an online entrepreneur for 30 years. My company's almost 20 years old now.
Wow.
And have really dealt with tens of thousands of people directly, and have really learned a lot from what they've been able to tell me. And like you were saying, people instinctively know what to do, but why don't people do it? Right? So there's this gap as wide as the Grand Canyon. Why don't they do these things?
Yeah.
And I've learned over time that there's many subtle differences that are really on the inside, the entrepreneur on the inside, that you have to develop that first, because how is always there,
Yeah.
but unless you are able to multiply what's on the inside, it's really not going to be that effective.
Now, I know you've coached many people to go from really startup to 6- and 7-figure businesses. What's
Yeah.
the difference between what they do and how they get things done versus the one who you see them and they just keep spinning their wheels and never seem to make any progress?
The big thing that I really learned over time, and it's all a process, a learning process, is they come to a certain level of awareness of what's possible in their life. Because when I was just starting out, I thought $50 an hour was the bomb.
Right, that's amazing.
Because because I didn't know any better, right? And I didn't know that, so I didn't know any better. So once you get to a certain plateau of income, then you say, well, how can I get better? And you start to develop the awareness that it's possible to earn the sizable amounts of money. And then you start working on the techniques on how to do that.
Right.
But you have to have the awareness it's possible, otherwise it's never going to be possible.
So let's talk about how you got started. You said you've been doing this for a few decades now, helping people. I mean, how did this all begin for you? How did you see entrepreneurship as a path that would change your life forever?
It started, I had it in my blood, and when
Yeah.
you have it, you have it. And ever since the age of 5, I've been an entrepreneur. I didn't know what it was. I had to kind of wing it as I was going, but I had a good role model. My mom was an entrepreneur as well too.
Yeah.
But her work ethic was just work hard, and that's all I knew. So I have a
Right.
great work ethic, but I just figured it was just about working hard. Went into the Marine Corps as a sergeant in the Marine Corps, so I learned delegation and getting things done and these types of things, and the awareness of overcoming problems. So that whole process kind of developed. And while I was in the Marines, I had businesses on the side and that whole thing, just to kind of feed my passion. And as I got out, I started getting into the online community and learning that I wanted to get into digital entrepreneurship and to really explore that area to be able to multiply my efforts with other people.
Yeah, I think that's a really big thing. Is there's a lot of people who do work hard, right? The guy, right behind us is doing construction. He's working hard right now, but you found a way through the internet, through digital marketing, to really multiply those efforts. And I want to talk about that because I think we're living in a great time, right? We have those phones in our pocket that can do anything. We have laptops that can do anything. I mean, tell us about kind of the state of the industry and how opportunistic it is right now for people who want to take advantage of it.
It's the age of the entrepreneur. I mean, it's never before in human history has anybody had the power they have in their hand with a smartphone, with a computer, a laptop. I mean, you can go anywhere in the world and be able to make it. Just in the year of 2000, it would cost $1 million to start a business where you can start for a few $1,000s right now.
Right.
It's unbelievable. So as soon as you become to the awareness that that's possible, but now it's become such a foggy area because there's so much thrown at you, what do? You become confused, and lack of focus hits us and everything because it's all the attention economy right now, right? So we be able to focus on these types of things and then be able to use these tools and develop yourself by using that. Once you have sovereignty in your life, you're master of your own domain, to have the knowledge that you can be dropped anywhere in the world and make money, and there's no other greater feeling than that.
Yeah, there is no greater feeling than that. I know we talked about earlier, you've coached, tens of thousands and probably impacted hundreds of thousands or millions through your work and content and things like that. You have a story or two that kind of sticks out to you of someone who, saw that opportunity and you really helped them to create that sovereignty and freedom in their life.
Well, I realized over time, in about maybe 1990 or so, that I wanted to impact people more because I was working hard, I was doing okay, but my income really shot up when I said it's not about me. So I wanted to develop systems and help other people geometrically. So I developed systems and went into the digital market so I could help people globally and help them to expand their life, whether they're in Mongolia or Maine, it doesn't matter, where we can help them through digital education. And the e-learning space is growing exponentially. It's going to be $300 and something billion in the next 10 years, so it's incredible. So with this market and the e-learning space, we can capture that be able to multiply it with other people around the world and have impact on a global scale with just a download.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Which is incredible. And one of the things that I love that you do is you are an educator, right? And you love.
That's what my passion is, yeah.
You've written multiple best-selling books. You've written some of your own books. You've written books with guys like Brian Tracy and Richard Branson. I mean, what is it about education and you being an educator that really can make an impact on folks?
Well, education is a great equalizer. We all know that. I think instinctively everybody around the world knows that. If you want to get from here to there,
yeah.
It's always education.
Right.
And where you get that education is important. Of course, you can go the school route, which is fine, but you still have to have the awareness of where you are. Otherwise, you're going to go 4 years, and where are you then?
Yeah.
It's always a process no matter when you go. And you'll have to have that growth mindset. You're going to be constantly growing. One of the things that I've found through education, through learning and studying the masters, is that you don't get successful, you don't become successful, you don't get rich, you welcome it into your life. So you have to look at it backwards,
Yeah.
So you have to make it welcome in your life, plant the seeds in your mind of being fertile in the education, and then things start to kind of conspire in your favor eventually.
Yeah.
And so when you teach this to people, they look at it like, wow, really? So they thought it was about working hard, about getting a job, and so on. So it's really about making it welcome in your life, and whatever you choose to do, whether it's a job or an entrepreneur, the vehicle is not necessarily what's going to make you wealthy. That's just the vehicle that is going to have the money flow through.
Yeah.
So it's the environment that you create that's going to have everything attract to it.
Yeah, now one of the things I think that you're most proud of is the ability that you've been able to create the sovereignty for your own life
Right.
and the lives of others, and now you're able to give it back. And you just started a new nonprofit
Yeah.
that helps young entrepreneurs and
Right.
children to really learn about some of these skills. I'd love if you could share a little bit about why you wanted to do that and what kind of impact you're making.
Well, yeah, as I mentioned, I've been an entrepreneur since I can remember, and I had to wing it. And
Yeah.
I've eaten a lot of humble pie in my life, right? And I paid heavily in my entrepreneurial education. So I said, what would have happened if I would have had a mentor? And I didn't know what a mentor was until maybe 20 years ago.
Right.
So, I wanted to be able to give back in that area, and giving back is big for me. So you have to be able to give to receive. So I don't give just to receive, but it just kind of happens that way, right? So I wanted to create a not-for-profit called WizKids that we can help young entrepreneurs and teach them things you don't learn in school. How to be able to fend for yourself, how to be able to anti-bullying, to stick up for what's right, to have the entrepreneurial spark and get that fire going when you're younger, and thus be able to grow your passion and not just stop. Because I feel ultimately we're domesticated as a people, right?
Definitely,
You
yeah.
become domesticated because of society, your
Right.
parents, everything, and thus you want to end being domesticated and to be able to liberate your life and liberate your thoughts and not just live because of the prevailing thoughts of other people.
Yeah.
So we want to be able to light that fire in other people and give back through the kids.
Yeah, really, really powerful, very admirable, and I know you're making a big difference in the community
Mm-hmm.
through that. I have one kind of final question. It's kind of a fun one. Because you've been doing this so long, if you could look back, let's say 20, 30 years as you were getting started, maybe just getting out of the military, like what would you tell yourself that might have gotten you through some of those times, some of those ups and downs, that roller coaster? What advice would you give to yourself?
That's such a great question. I often thought, what would I have known if I would known way back when?
Yeah.
And back then, I just wish I would have known that what a mentor was all about, because I had no idea. I just
Yeah.
thought it was work. It's up to me. If it was to be, it's up to me, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be able to tell myself back then, if I could have a mentor to teach me to kind of shorten that learning curve. And the other thing is also that you have ultimate potential inside of you, and unless you know that, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So everything you have is resourced inside of you. You just have to find it, to be able to dive inside of yourself and be able to explore it and make it come out, that you can do wonderful things. And if you can see that, realize it, and be able to do it, then you're going to be able to create whatever you want in your life.
Now, one of the great things is that you now are that mentor for so many people. I know there's folks who are watching right now who they need help. They have the system in front of them. They see the opportunity in front of them, but they need someone to kind of guide them through the process or help them with the mindset that's going to make them successful. What's the best way for people to maybe learn more about what you're doing and how they can get involved so that you can help them to reach their goals?
Well, if they go and they see my website on the screen, they
Yeah.
can go over there and find a little bit more about what I do, how I do it. I have many courses available that they can learn online at the touch of a button. And we have some free courses that you can get on there, kind of get a little feel of what I do and my
Yeah.
teaching style. We have book studies. I dive deep into the masters. One of the best ways to be able to learn is to learn from the masters.
Yeah.
And we dissect them within 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks into a book to be
Wow.
able to see what they're thinking and be able to pass that on to people. But also, my own courses as well too, and they can just find that on my website.
Yeah, you made it real easy for them. Go
Yeah,
to the
easy.
website, check it out, learn more about how you can create that sovereignty, freedom in your lifestyle, and reach your dreams. Thank you so much for
Thank you
hanging
so
out
much.
with us
Thank
today.
you, Rick. I
And we'll
appreciate
be
it.
back in just a minute with more from Times Square Today.